Welcome to Hear Here, the podcast where you get a VIP, behind-the-scenes look at the broad collective of music venues and festivals that make Buffalo the music destination it is. I'm your host, Bentley. Today we're talking about PAUSA Art House, an inviting and intimate club off the fringes of Buffalo's Allentown Strip, and home to a wide variety of artistic exploration. First up, we welcome co-founder and owner, Lazara Martinez. Originally from Cuba, she is an accomplished violinist, having performed with the National Symphony in the Dominican Republic and the Carlos Chavez Symphonic Orchestra in Mexico. I'm so excited to be here with you today, Lazara Martinez, the owner of PAUSA Art House.
Thank you for having me.
How did PAUSA start?
PAUSA started in 2013 and started as a partnership. And then I became the sole owner later, 2017, I think it was. And the principal idea was to have a performance space where listening to music was the main goal. I mean, we needed the bar, we needed the food, but the main goal why people come is to listen to music. So
that's a powerful statement because people, the musicians and artists you get here deserve very undivided attention. And I feel like they get that here at PAUSA.
They do, and they love it.
Yeah.
And the audience loves it too. So, I mean, nowadays if somebody's talking, the audience will tell them to not, politely to not talk. So it's a plus, it's a real perk.
How would you explain the vibe at PAUSA when you're here for a performance?
It's a very intimate space, and that also makes it very special. It's only 40 seats in the stage area, 18 by the bar. So by default, it's a small space. Everyone is kind of close to each other. People unavoidably meet each other because they sit. We have communal seating, some of the tables. So if a group of two and another group of two sit together, they have to talk.
Yeah.
So they meet, and a lot of friendships have started that way. So.
And you've met a lot of the patrons. We'll be talking to one of them later in this episode.
Yes.
What do you hear from them when they talk about PAUSA?
They always leave with a smile on their faces.
Yeah.
And most of them, when they leave, they say, this is my favorite place. I mean, I don't want to take any credit.
You should.
But it's very rewarding to hear that because it takes a lot of effort to make this happen. So people appreciate when things go smoothly and they come and they get to experience live music of the highest level because it's always good music, good musicians. The audience is really great.
Yeah.
So
when you first started this venue and even until now, did you feel that you were filling a void maybe that needed to be filled for a space for musicians in Buffalo?
Buffalo is a very lively place for music. But I wanted the intimacy, and I think it's really hard to come across a big club of jazz where everybody's sitting and listening.
Yeah.
And that has always been at the highest, priority for us. So in a way, I think people love it because it is a listening space and they don't have to fight over, people talking.
Yeah.
And even though I still announce it for the new audience that comes, we're still getting new people that don't know about PAUSA. So I have to announce that we are a listening space and we require that you do not talk during the show.
Being a performer yourself, and performing with some of the people that you've performed with and your own level that you perform at.
Yes.
What part of you, how do you bring that into PAUSA?
I don't perform as much when I do I really want to feel, comfortable.
Yeah.
So work takes a lot of my energy away. But I appreciate the attention that people pay to the quality of the music that we bring. I'm somewhat picky, I guess.
Yeah.
Not about the style, but the quality and the professionalism that the musicians show when they perform here. So, and that has always been my standard for my music performance career, No matter what it is that you're playing, if it's professional and it is of quality and it's respectful, I think it will be good.
And PAUSA is known for the jazz aspect. We'll be talking to an amazing jazz singer coming up, but it's not just one genre. It's not just a one genre venue. What are some of the other genres that you explore? How would you explain the musical choices?
Yeah,
here?
that's what I mean, that it's not just one music genre. We do jazz, we do world music, we do indie, we do Americana.
Yeah.
I mean, not as much as jazz, because jazz, it all of a sudden it became a jazz club. We have a lot of jazz musicians in Buffalo. And we have Latin music. So it's like I said, if it's of a good quality, people appreciate it. And people do venture out to experience new music as well. It's a little harder when they don't know what they're coming to see, but at least they know it's going to be of the highest quality.
Has it helped you because you are a musician yourself and because of your past experiences that helped you in terms of connections, or because you meet artists in that respect? Does that help you get artists to play at PAUSA?
It does, actually. It does, because sometimes when I bring friends, they talk to other friends. And then, given that social media is the way now, if their friends see that they're playing a PAUSA, then they get in touch with me and say, hey, I'm friends with so-and-so. Can we come? And I say, well, I really appreciate that, but I need to listen to you. Just because you're friends, I can't just say, yeah, come on over. So I do request a video or audio or, any information that I can see what it is that they want to present. But it does help. And by now I know a lot of musicians.
I'm sure.
A lot of musicians.
So, Lazara, you've had so many amazing events here at PAUSA, but is there something that sticks out in your mind that you saw or you were here and said, wow, we're really doing this?
Well, there was an occasion where I had the opportunity to bring one of my favorite Cuban musicians, Alex Cuba, and I couldn't believe it was going to happen. And he had just won the best album for a Grammy. And I was able to bring him to PAUSA, just a single guitarist, Cuban-Canadian. And as I was here, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I have this musician that I listen to constantly, and he's here in this space. So that was a big, big moment for me.
What makes you excited about the future of PAUSA, and where do you see PAUSA going?
The future of PAUSA, it just keeps growing.
Yeah.
It's good to know that every day, every week, every year, we keep growing. And eventually, maybe I don't have to book anymore. People just come.
Yeah. Well, it is such an iconic spot in Buffalo. How would you explain the Buffalo music scene and the scene that PAUSA contributes to that?
Right. The Buffalo music scene is very strong. And we have many, many young musicians that either went to school outside of Buffalo and came back, or went to school here in Buffalo and stayed because they recognize that it is a strong community of musicians and the audience. So we also have many venues that present all kinds of acts, touring acts, local acts, and all of a sudden we see ourselves with like, what do we do? Where do we go? How can we do as much as we can? Because it's almost like, I don't want to say it's too much for the city, but it is definitely a lot of music for the city of our size.
Yeah.
Which is a good problem to have sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. We're sitting here before a sold-out show tonight that you'll be getting prepared for for later.
Yes.
So congratulations on running such an awesome venue.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lazara spent years turning PAUSA into a special place for musicians of all genres. And with every unique performance, the mission continues. Up next, we had a wonderful conversation with one of those artists, vocalist Alex McArthur. So when I was talking to Lazara about performers at PAUSA, and I know she will never pick a favorite, but I said, who do I need to talk to that's a performer that has performed at PAUSA? And she did not hesitate to say Alex McArthur. So I am so honored that you're here to talk to us today as a performer at PAUSA Art House. Do you remember the first time that you performed here?
Oh, absolutely, I do. It's an honor to have been asked to do something like this, so thank you, Lazara. The first time I sang at PAUSA, I think it was either January or February of 2016, and I had found PAUSA about a year prior to having performed here. I was in college at the time, and I was studying a lot of different kinds of music. I was just kind of throwing myself into so many different genres and performance styles, and had recently picked up jazz. I was studying that a lot and spending a lot of my free time outside of school studying improvisation and different singers, and that's how, after about a year of that, I felt pretty confident, I think I could do this. And PAUSA was the first place that I really found myself able to, present two sets of music in a concert, but just to have a space where you're really have that focus and that energy in the room, that's supporting you as well. It was a really beautiful thing to kind of step into that for the first time.
How do you feel being on the stage here from the artist's perspective?
Oh, that's a great question. PAUSA is such a unique venue here in Buffalo, and I'm so grateful that this place exists because I attribute a lot of my growth as an artist to this place. To have a space where people are open and willing to listen to you in such a vulnerable way. We've been talking about how intimate this venue is. It's really allowed myself to challenge myself in what I'm sharing and how I'm sharing it, in my vocal abilities and my storytelling.
Buffalo has a very strong jazz tradition. All the greats have played here back in the day. John Coltrane, Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald. How does PAUSA Art House help continue that tradition, especially for a young jazz performer like yourself?
A huge aspect of jazz and improvisation is the mutual energy that is shared between both the musicians and the audiences. And I know that I tend to lean more towards live performances rather than, I don't have a lot of recordings out because I've so much been leaning into just the beauty that is this art form and the live aspect of it. There's truly nothing like it, and sharing that music and the space with people. It's one of my absolute favorite things in the world. So to keep that alive and to actually be a part of that is a really, really special thing.
And you grew up in a musical family?
I did. When I was a child, my dad was studying jazz drums. So I was going with him to a lot of his jazz teacher, who was Lou Marino, which I know a lot of people know of Lou Marino. I spent a lot of time with Lou as a small person, and going to a lot of different venues in Buffalo that I kind of did end up meeting a lot of the folks that I play with now, but I had no idea that would end up being the case.
So Buffalo has a lot of different genres that perform. There's a lot of different concerts that happen. Local music, there's a lot of different bands. There always seems to be a focus on bands or certain genres, but there is a jazz scene here. What do you think the best way is to get the word out about that and promote that and make people realize that there are future up-and-coming jazz stars right in our own neighborhood?
I think the way that social media has been working very much in our favor over the last few years. I feel like the pandemic sort of put that into a different level and a different wavelength in how word gets out and how people know about what's going on here in Buffalo. I feel like when I found PAUSA too, I was in such a mindset of wanting to try new things and go to new places. And I think just more people having that sort of a mindset. I know it's very easy to get stuck in doing the same thing and going to the same places, just the routine of life, but the desire to try new things, whatever that may end up being.
And you are part of the Buffalo music scene. How would you explain Buffalo as a music destination to maybe people coming from outside the area?
Buffalo is in this really sweet spot in between New York and Chicago, and then going down to Baltimore or even Cleveland and Columbus. And because of that sweet spot, we just have a lot of different people coming into town, whether it's like through tours or people that have wanted to stay somewhat close to home in Buffalo or in one of those other cities and go to school there or move there and build up their artistry in whatever city that they may choose. And Buffalo, because of its location, I feel like a lot of people end up here and end up wanting to play here.
Did you go to school in Buffalo?
Yes. During my time in school, I met a lot of really wonderful musicians that I had never felt more comfortable around. I feel like there's a lot of that concept of being in the right place at the right time that I can attribute to my reasons for still being here and really loving the artistry and the music that I'm able to make with as many people here as there are. And as you said, there's a lot of different genres and styles of music that exist here and that have spaces to perform in and make art within. And because of that diversity and that variety of music, that's another thing that has kept me here. Because the idea of maybe going to a town where it's not necessarily like jazz oriented, but there's maybe it's more classical focused, or it's more, concert, arenas and things like that. That's not necessarily it for me. Mm-hmm. It might be for other people, and that's fine. But I found a sweet spot here in Buffalo. So.
Well, we are so fortunate that you stayed and that we have you and we get to continue to see you perform, especially here at PAUSA Art House.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
Alex and Lazara both spoke about the importance of connecting with the audience. We'll close this episode with Kofi Fynn-Aikins, a patron who consistently keeps getting drawn back into this magical space. Kofi, I'm so excited to talk to you today as a fan of PAUSA Art House. How does it feel for you to be in the audience when you're at PAUSA? What does it feel like for you when you're seeing these performances?
That's a great question. What I really like about PAUSA is the intimacy. It's just, you're close to everybody and you get to talk to a lot of people because of that intimacy. And so every time I come here, I make a new friend. I started coming here shortly after they opened. And what brought me here was the fact that it was open to cater to local musicians. And one of the things I liked about PAUSA at the time was because they wanted to invest in these local musicians, and all the gate fees goes to the musicians. And I thought, wow, that is pretty neat. So I'm all about helping people. Mm-hmm. So when I see organizations that are trying to do the same, I just kind of fall for them, And so I've been coming here shortly after they opened.
So how many shows do you think you've seen here?
Oh my gosh. That's a very tough question.
Yeah.
I come here at least once a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I wish I could do more, but sometimes I have other engagements, so I'm not able to come here as often as I would like to. But for me and my wife, this is like home.
Yeah.
I mean, we love this place so much. We come here as often as we can. And the good part of it is that we become friends with Lazara.
Yeah.
You know, and I know when we went through COVID, it was a tough time for all of us. And we were happy, we were concerned that, you know, PAUSA would close.
Yeah.
And if it closed, then our happy place is gone.
Yeah.
So we did everything we could to make sure that PAUSA stayed alive. And I'm so glad. And I'd like to thank Lazara for working so hard to keep it going. So.
Keep it going. Yes, because that was a difficult time. And the fact that they're thriving now after such a difficult time says a lot. But it also, people like you have to support these venues.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
You were talking to me about some of the things that they do here other than music. You come to dinners here.
Yes.
That they do, special chef dinners. And can you talk about some of those? Or some of those things that you've also been to here at PAUSA?
Yeah, so PAUSA has been evolving over the years, and I've seen the process and the pains and tribulations they've gone through. But the dinners are really, really nice because they've tried different things. And I think right now they're at a point where I think all three of them, the chef, the sommelier, and Lazara, are feeling very good about it. So they offer different types of dinners. So I've been to a Caribbean dinner. I've been to a Mexican dinner. And so they keep doing different dinners all the time. And I think people really like that. And I've met a couple of couples who come all the time. We become friends with them.
Yeah.
Because Lazara decides who sits with who.
Yeah.
Especially during the summer when we have these events outside. And so I'm very happy to have made a lot of friends through that those events. So it's very exciting. We all have very busy lifestyles. And so weekends, we like to go someplace to relax. And luckily for us, we found a place like PAUSA where we can go and relax. And we know a lot of people who come here. We know Lazara personally. So it's like going home.
Yeah.
So it's our second home.
How do you think PAUSA enriches the Buffalo music scene?
Well, I think there are a few places where you can go to listen to jazz. But I think, and I've been to some of them, and I think the space and the quality of the music is much better in PAUSA than other places. So I don't listen to jazz anywhere else except PAUSA.
Really?
Really. If you like good jazz and you want an intimate environment to listen to that jazz, PAUSA is the place.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you took time today to talk to us, and I look forward to seeing you in the audience at
Well, thanks for having
the
me.
show here. Thank you.
Pleasure.
That wraps up this episode of Hear Here. Be sure to check out more episodes on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Buffalo is a unique music destination, and we uncover it all on Hear Here. This program is produced by Buffalo Toronto Public Media for Visit Buffalo Niagara. I'm Bentley. Thanks for listening.